going to treat you with respect and civility, even if not everyone in this process does. I'll tell you, this election matters. It matters a lot, and you need someone to stand up.
Yeah, it does matter.
All right, buckle up, because what went down in the Senate today, pure, unfiltered chaos. And at the centre of it all, the always indignant, ever arrogant and questionably bearded Ted Cruz. The topic? The legality of nationwide injunctions blocking Donald Trump's policies. But let's be real, that's just the official reason. Because what actually happened was a battle of egos so intense you could practically hear the tension crackling through the screen. And leading the charge against Cruz, Senator Amy Klobuchar. Now, Ted Cruz has built an entire political brand around being a self-righteous disruptor, sometimes for Trump, sometimes for his own amusement, but always with that same sanctimonious smirk. And today, that smirk got wiped clean off his face. Let's talk about that loyalty problem. Before we get to the showdown, let's refresh our memories on Cruz's historical flip-flopping when it comes to Trump. Remember when Trump mocked Cruz's wife with an unflattering side-by-side comparison to Melania? Remember when Trump accused Cruz's father of being involved in JFK's assassination? Remember how Cruz, at the time, called Trump a snivelling coward and demanded he keep his wife's name out of his mouth? Yeah, fast forward a few years, and Cruz is out here acting like Trump's most devoted disciple. So naturally, the real question of the day wasn't about judicial injunctions, it was, Ted, were you lying then? Or are you lying now? Oof. And then Klobuchar stepped in. Right when Cruz was in the middle of delivering one of his signature self-righteous monologues, Klobuchar decided she'd had enough, and she let him have it. Her words, measured but ruthless. Her tone, firm but undeniable. Cruz, for all his bluster, suddenly found himself fumbling, stammering, scrambling, like a man who just realised he brought a rubber knife to a gunfight. Even Senator Sheldon Whitehouse had to step in, probably wondering if he needed to throw Cruz a lifeline before things got really embarrassing. Ted's exit? Not so graceful. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse for Cruz, it did. After delivering a mountain of rhetorical nonsense about lawfare and protecting democracy, he tried to make a dramatic exit. Tried, because the moment he turned his back, you could almost hear the collective eye roll of the entire room. And honestly, who could blame them? So, what's the verdict? Today wasn't just another heated Senate debate, it was a masterclass in how arrogance can backfire fast. Ted Cruz walked in ready to lecture the world. He walked out looking like a man who just realised his mic was on the whole time. Now I gotta ask, was this Cruz's worst Senate moment yet? Or will he somehow find a way to top this one? You ever notice how power works? It's not just about who has it, it's about who gets to keep it, and who runs when things get too hot. See, in the grand chess game of politics, some people don't play fair. If they don't like how the pieces are moving, they just flip the board. And nowhere is that more obvious than in the courts. If one judge won't play along, no problem. Just go shopping for another. It's like trying to find a mechanic who'll tell you your totaled car is good as new. Except in this case, we're talking about the Constitution, and here's the kicker. Decisions that should be above politics, they're getting dragged through the mud. Judges aren't just referees anymore, they're becoming players in the game. One ruling favours the left. It's justice. One favours the right. Suddenly, it's judicial activism. See how that works? Now, some people argue that nationwide injunctions, those big rulings that shut down government policies overnight, are necessary when laws are broken. Others say it's just a way to block an administration they don't like. Both sides claim they're protecting democracy. But who actually is? And let's not forget, the courtroom isn't the only place this fight plays out. The uglier it gets, the more dangerous it becomes. Judges, They're not just making decisions anymore, they're getting threats. The very people meant to uphold law and order are now the targets. That's not just political theatre anymore, that's real. And speaking of disappearing acts, some politicians talk tough until reality comes knocking. You know the type. They'll shout about crisis and leadership until the power grid fails and their state is freezing. Then they're booking a one-way ticket to paradise. Cancun, anyone? Power, accountability, consequences. It's all connected. The real question isn't just who's in charge, it's who stays when the storm hits.